Welcome back, everybody, to the ABL Review. Here we are with Season 20 Playoff Edition of the ABL Review. We're going to be covering both the North and the South games in this episode, and as usual, I'm going to start with the South. You guys don't know which one I say which one I usually start with, but you're usually not around for that whole process. So, if you came into this not knowing who faced everyone, or you don't know the outcomes, sorry, I'm gonna spoil it. If anybody does that, let me know. That way maybe I can be cognizant of it in the future, but I assume everyone knows the outcomes of the battles when they're watching this. And if that's not the case, let me know. So let's head over to the schedule. And we'll see we had Zheng in the Minnesota Typhlosion taking on Darren in the Detroit Dragapults, and then in the other game we had Kyle and the Los Angeles Kingdras taking on Papkun and the Texarkana Toxics. Let's hop into this game. These two games weren't particularly close, so we can kind of... These are going to be pretty breezy. So first we got Kyle taking on Pap. Just looking at these matchups, Papkun won the first game because Kyle didn't have great ways of dealing with Gouging Fire. His ways of dealing with Gouging Fire are still a bit limited, but Kyle's team's really pressured by strong fire-type moves, particularly the combination of Hisuian Typhlosion and Gouging Fire is going to be tough for him. I'm kind of surprised. Papkun has... sorry, this is going to be misframed for a minute. Do you have access to Sun? Yeah, Ninetales. I kind of would have expected Ninetales to come to this game. I think it would have helped out what he's got going on here. But, you know, it is what it is. Also, if you're looking at the chat and just like, what the fuck are they talking about? This was played on April 1st, so for them, the sprites were weird. So, yeah, let's just keep that in mind. So this is not a good lead for Kyle. If he's Scarf, he can U-turn to a little bit of damage, but he's probably just going to hard switch here, and we see that happen. Duraludon gets its Utility Umbrella knocked off. Now, I was talking to Kyle before the game. This Utility Umbrella allowed him to take like a +2 Sun-boosted Flare Blitz from Gouging Fire, and then KO back with the Draco Meteor that we see later. I think that's a good strategy, but obviously seeing that Sun was not around, he figured it was worth risking his Utility Umbrella because it's not getting a lot of utility in this game. So double back into Landers, scouting for a superpower. And yeah, I think he made the right call there. Ice Spinner coming out into the Rotom, pretty good. Stone Edge coming out, hitting that. Oh, I tried to pause, it didn't work. We've seen Kyle really enjoy using this like dual screen set on Rotom. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm kind of down on dual screens mostly. I think I guess I'm down on Aurora Veil after the season I had with it. I just think Aurora Veil in particular is tough because it's a little too easy to plan for. People see it and it's like, okay, fit Brick Break or Psychic Fangs on there. I just think that the reward is not necessarily worth the risk of bringing the move. Not risk, but I guess opportunity cost loss. But I think just squeezing it onto a random Pokemon like Rotom Fan, I think has been pretty effective for him. So he's able to get up the Reflect, be able to take that Stone Edge, and then switch into Duraludon on an Ice Spinner and get this defense boost behind that. That's good value for money right there. Fires off a Draco Meteor. That was obviously going to do the most to Donphan, but now the benefits of this is he still has, good defense, and he got a little bit of damage off on the Porygon. He's able to get off a nice body press there. And really good double switch. I mean, this is, really good switch here. Kyle's like, okay, he's either that was maybe a little bit of a roll, probably not worth staying in, especially because there's such an easy switch for Papkun to make into Typhlosion. So he goes into his Meowscarada here, and we see the Typhlosion frisk the Choice Band. Now, this is an interesting turn because Papkun knows that this Meowscarada is not Choice Scarf. So, and there's not really good fire resists on Kyle's team, there's no fire resist on Kyle's team. So if this is Scarf Typhlosion, there's 0 downside to firing off either a Fire Blast or an Eruption. So we're basically going to find out, based on what Papcoon does here, what this Typhlosion's item is. I mean, we're going to find out if it's Scarf or anything else. If he stays in, it's Scarf, and if he switches out, it's anything else. Probably either Boots or Specs, would be my guess. And he hard switches out. So he knew he wasn't going to be able to win that that exchange there, and he switched out. So that's information that Kyle has. This is pretty beneficial to him because Booster Energy activates, gets the attack boost, so he actually isn't holding an item, so knockoff will do less, but Kyle does crit when he would have done like 38% or so, or how much he would have done? Yeah, he probably would have done in like the 30-ish, 30 to 40 range, somewhere in there. But ends up getting a crit for nearly half health on the Gouging Fire here. Pretty unfortunate. Landorus is going to come in, lower that attack even more. Heat Crash isn't going to do much through that Reflect. And Landorus is going to start firing off Earthquakes, which everything on this team is grounded. The only resist in the world is that Ogerpon Wellspring. Okay, a lot of stuff going on there. Let's break this down. The Alolan Sandslash comes in on the Ice Spinner. Nice play. Gouging Fire is going to come in as he terastallizes. This does two things. If the Donphan had stayed in and gone for Earthquake, he terastallized ice types, now he's lost that weakness, and setting up the Snowscape boosts his speed for 1 because of Slush Rush, and his defense, or speed for 2 stages actually, but for 1 it boosts his speed by 2 stages, and also boosts his defense by 1.5 due to the new buffs to ice types this generation. So this thing would have definitely been able to take on anything that Donphan had gone for, minus a Stone Edge, but even then it would have lived a Stone Edge likely. So Kyle's in a really good spot here, as he actually decided to set up a Swords Dance in front of Gouging Fire. I think that's incredibly risky, but Kyle had to have known the calc. He knew the photosynthesis, he knew it wasn't banded because the booster energy got burned. He knows he's got the defense boost because of the hail. And he takes that opportunity to set up a Swords Dance, and, well earned there. I figured he's going to fire off an Earthquake. That made a lot of sense to me, but he goes for the Icicle Spear. Definitely would have killed the Gouging Fire, but just Earthquake would have been, I think, the safer play. As we kind of discussed, no ground or switch-ins really on Papcoon's team. But he goes for the Icicle Spear. Would have managed to get an extra turn out of the snow if he had gone for the Earthquake there. Because also he gets a little bit lucky and gets... Oh no, he gets 4 hits both times, I guess. So yeah, that's how that goes. So now the Hisuian Typhlosion comes in. We know that this isn't Scarf because of basically how things went before, and then we do reveal the loaded dice. So Kyle's free to go for the Earthquake here, but I guess this is one of the benefits to having him gone for Icicle Spear twice there, because now it appears as though he doesn't have Earthquake, which is why this Hisuian Typhlosion feels comfortable coming in, right? If he had Earthquaked on that first turn, or on the second turn, then the Hisuian Typhlosion wouldn't have come in. But also, I don't know that matters at this point. I think you just take KOs where you can get them, but he does take the KO here. Oh, he tries to take the KO here. Earthquake doesn't quite get the KO. Eruption comes out, is able to KO this, but now this Eruption against anything else is going to do such little damage. I think we looked it up. It's like 40 base power Eruption, or no, it's like 38 base power Eruption at this percentage. So not good. U-Turn's going to easily kill this. And at this point, Papcoon's kind of in dire straits. He's got 3 physical attackers left versus this Archaludon that just set up an Iron Defense and got another defense boost. Body Press is going to be able to pretty easily clean up the rest of these things. Gouging Fire actually gets a really lucky crit here, which kind of gives a potential opening to Kyle, or sorry, to Papcoon, but it's just too late. Draco Meteor's going to KO that. I probably would have just gone for a Body Press there. I think it would have KO'd the Gouging Fire. You didn't have to risk a miss, but sometimes people go, hey, if I can click Draco, I'm going to click Draco. We actually see that in a later game. So Ogerpon Wellspring comes in here, goes for the Ivy Cudgel. High crit move, so maybe there's a chance he crits through it. Doesn't get lucky. As Kyle's actually going to rest off this damage here. Porygon 2 is going to come out. He's going to burn the second turn asleep. Ice Beam, just going to boost that further. Can't get frozen because he's already asleep. Body Press is going to pick up that Porygon 2. And Kyle's going to move on to the semifinals of the South. Now, one game away from potentially making it back up to the North next week. We'll talk about those matchups later on, but we can move on. Papkun, really good season. He had a fun team, competitive this season. Love seeing him make the playoffs. Good for him. Next, we've got Darren taking on Zeng. Seriously, just like a lot of really dangerous players down here in the South. I was talking to someone recently. It's just like I'm glad I got the first round bye in the North. If I had to choose like playing people in the North versus playing people in the South, just like having to play like this is a dangerous group of competitors in the South. Between like Kyle and Darren both have championships. Zeng we've called the most dangerous man in the ABL. And Papkun's really no pushover. He's made strides this season to do better, and it's apparent. The South's nothing to fuck with. So here we have Darren taking on Zeng. We have kind of a pseudo Sun team with Cottony and these two fire abusers here, versus a team that really wants to take advantage of the Sun. I think Zeng was smart to not like bring hard Sun versus this team that has so many things that benefit from it. Let's see if it pays off. So we got Grafai versus Iron Boulder lead. Grafai is probably not going to want to stay in here. And we also see the Quark Drive pop right away on the Iron Boulder. Grafai is going to go ahead and switch out. As this Iron Boulder, also Swords dances up. Now this is super dangerous. So let me think. Rock Wrecker is what, 90 base power? Stab. Okay, yeah. Because he goes for Wild Charge here. I wasn't really expecting that. Wild Charge though, it's just not fucking strong enough. I've talked to people about this. They made this move so weak. They should really make it 120 base power. Make it the equivalent to Flare Blitz. And I think the reason they haven't done that is they're like, oh, well, Volt Tackle on the Pikachu line is 120 base power. Make that 150. Go ahead. I don't care. Just like, you need to make stronger physical electric moves that don't have such huge drawbacks. Like, Supercell Slam is a bad move. It's a bad move. It's not worth the increase in power from Wild Charge. Wild Charge has less of a bad drawback. Anyways, getting back into it. Not actually able to pick up the KO on the Corviknight, which surprised me. I'm surprised he went for Wild Charge again there. I think at that point you could have gone for, what's that move called? Not Rock Wrecker. It's the Mighty Cleave. Could have gone for Mighty Cleave there. It would have picked up the KO. I think that was probably the play there. He could have at least gotten some damage on the Sandy Shocks, but with the Tailwind up, he's able to overtake the Iron Boulder and get the KO. So now we get this Araquanid that just keeps dropping these defenses on this Corviknight. Pretty bad luck for the Corviknight, because it's really, if it hadn't gotten those defense drops, it really would have been able to recover quite a bit of HP here and help out. But it doesn't manage to get that. Cresselia is going to come in. Now we get to a point in the battle that I fucking hate. I hate paralysis. And no shame on anybody who uses it. Like uses T-Waves and stuff. Like it's a move in your arsenal. I think you should be using it, obviously, but it's just not fun to watch. If I was a season ticket holder for either the Dragapulse or the Typhlosion, I'd probably be selling my tickets most weeks. It's just not a fun kind of gameplay to watch. We got the Walking Wake versus the Corviknight. Walking Wake nearly able to pick up the KO with that Flamethrower. Is able to follow it up, but now Tailwind is up, putting it potentially at risk. Sandy Shocks is going to come out. Cobalion is going to come in. Yeah, let the Cobalion take the damage. It's paralyzed, a lot less dangerous. I don't agree with this play here by Darren. I think he should have gone for a Pyro Ball there. I think that the rocks being up on his side of the field was not enough of a detriment to kick them over there. I guess that's his only way to get up rocks, and you probably want to do that with the Ogerpon. but you also outspeed everything else on this team. You could have potentially kicked the rocks over there on your next turn. And plus Tailwind would have been up. Or no, I guess it's going to end at the end of this turn. I think you probably just want to kill the Cobalion, seeing as how he's actually revealed Thunderwave and Stealth Rock. If you get unlucky, you could kind of end up with nothing here, and that's what happens. He goes for the Court Change, gets Thunderwaved. That's a bad turn for him here. And then the Cobalion actually outspeeds the Cinderace this time, and is able to put up a Stealth Rock of his own. There's also, that's not a max speed Cinderace either. So he gets a slow U-turn off, which I guess is good for him. Also, if you didn't realize, that is a Blaze Cinderace and not Libero. Libero is allowed. We allowed Libero because of the nerfs to Libero and Protean. So, something to, don't mess that up again, Darren. The Grafaiai is going to come out, not going to want to get paralyzed, so we're going to see him go for a substitute here as the taunt comes out. Really weird moveset on this Cobalion. This does now reveal if Darren's paying attention that this Sandy Shocks loves coming out on this Cobalion. Literally no danger. So he'll have to keep that in mind for the future. I'm just going to knock off this Cobalion. We've seen his whole moveset. Giving a justified boost doesn't matter. Let's take away his recovery. That's nice and safe. Araquanid's going to come out. We're going to see it terrestrialize into a bug type here. But that's not going to be enough to live a gunk shot. I don't think that crit mattered. I haven't looked at the calcs, but it's not resisted. It's a stab move. It's a powerful stab move. As long as he hits, I think that's going to KO the Araquanid. Cobalion is going to come back out. We're in the same situation, except this time the Volt Switch is going to be able to break the substitute as Ogerpon comes in. This was kind of surprising to me. I guess it's a speed tie. That's why I kept thinking like Grafaiai should be way faster. But Grafaiai is going to go for the substitute, hoping for like a Swords Dance or something, right? You're hoping that they're going to go for something that you get a free sub out of it. It doesn't happen. He loses the speed tie for the Ivy Cudgel. He goes down. What was that? Oh, sorry. Ignore that. Okay, it'll go away on its own, I guess. That was weird. Cresselia is going to come in. Cresselia is definitely going to be able to take a hit from this Ogerpon, so that's good. Even though it's a knockoff, it was a close one. And then a Thunderwave comes out. You got to do what you got to do. Moonlight up, knockoff, even if it gets it off here, it's going to be doing less damage. I'm surprised at how much that Ivy Cudgel did. That's 150, so... Yeah, I guess knockoff did 53, Ivy Cudgel did 44. Yeah, I guess that adds up. That makes sense. Sorry, it's just, sometimes you got to do the math out loud in your head. Or the math in your head out loud. Because, was Ivy Cudgel the stronger move? Would it have KO'd? But no, it wouldn't have. Now the Cottony's going to come up on this Moonlight here. You get a free opportunity there. Trying to go for an Encore. Smart move by Zhang, switching out there. Now we're going to see Cottony do something that... we've talked a lot in the past about Cottony and basically what the moveset should be on it, what you'd like to see on it. And I was hoping this would be a level 1 Cottony. And we'll get into the logistics of why here in a second. But we see the substitute go up. U-Turn's going to go ahead and break that substitute. That's fine. Slitherwing's going to come out. U-Turn's going to break that substitute. If he had gone for first impression there, that Cottony's dead. I don't understand why the first impression didn't come out. That's surprising to me. Now Cresselia is going to come out. This Cottony's going to get the Leech Seed off and live here. So, the idea of the level 1 Cottony, which wouldn't have worked here, it's tough to pull off, but when you can pull it off, it's highly effective. Now, if this was level 1 Cottony, it would go for Endeavor, and even if it's at full health, that's only like 12 HP that it has, so it would definitely take it down, and if a Leech Seed was up, it would KO it, and you'd get a little bit of HP back, and you could basically just sub an Endeavor forever. Works particularly well with Toxic Spikes being up. But yeah, that's the level 1 Cottony set that we always talk about. Works even better with stuff like Leech Seed. And then also Endeavor works too, because if you have Shell Bell, you actually get all that HP back. You go back up to full health, and you can then substitute more. But Zhang has kind of a different variation on it there. Goes for a substitute at 24%. Big misplay by Zhang there. I don't know what you go for. I think what you should probably go for on that turn is Leech Seed. I think that's what you need to go for there. But also, if you have Endeavor, that would have been awesome on that turn. Endeavor and Shell Bell, right? So there we see the first impression KO. Walking Wake now is not going to be able to take on this Cresselia 1v1. Going to have to switch out. Ogrepawn's going to come in. We know this Ogrepawn isn't going to be able to kill Cresselia from this range. Trying to get a little bit of HP on that Horn Leech. Smart move. Spiky Shield. Sucker Punch fails. Knocking off the Heavy Duty Boots. Now this Ronaldo can't switch out because if it does, it'll feint to the rocks. I'm impressed with the Roar here. That bypassed the Sucker Punch, able to get good damage off. Now unfortunately he's not going to be able to really threaten this Cresselia anymore. He doesn't have enough punching power left on this team to get rid of the Cresselia. Gets the Scald Burn, that's lucky. But now that he's paralyzed, it's game over from here. He's just not going to be able to beat this Cresselia 1v1, especially with the para. Just Moonblast and a Moonlight is going to be enough to clean up for Zeng here. Clean up Zeng here for Darren. He does end up flip turning out. In comes the Cobalion. I think Darren ends up playing really cautious here. We see the Sandy Shocks come out. He could have just attacked twice. I don't really get the Volt Switch. I guess he just wanted to get the final KO with first impression on Slitherwing. Could have just Thunderbolted twice probably. He'd be fine. But however he did it, he got the win here. Well done by Darren. And Darren also, again, for the second season in a row, just like Kyle, 1 win away from returning. Neither of them have been in the North before, but getting called up to the North. So looking forward to that for them. Let's hop back over to the Google Sheet, and we'll take a look at the schedule, which you already saw. So since we do reseeding, the lowest remaining seed was Darren. He's going to be taking on Dakota, the 1 seed, and the highest remaining seed, Kyle, is going to be taking on Michael. So what happened when Darren faced Dakota? I can't remember. Wow, it was a long time ago, huh? Darren and Dakota, they played in week 5. Big win for Darren there. But that was the last win, or that was the last loss that Dakota had before he started on a win streak. So we'll see what happens here. Dakota's been doing really well. Darren was on a little bit of a downslide toward the back half of the season. So we'll basically, I think sometimes it takes people a while to get used to their team. Dakota's gotten used to his team. He hasn't made any changes that I recall to any of his just to his Terra captains, but he hasn't made any add drops or trades the whole season, so didn't really have to. And Darren's got a completely different team, so totally different tools to work with, but he's facing something very familiar. Michael's facing Kyle. When did they face? Just 2 weeks ago, and Michael came away in the better of that game. That was except Kyle was going to win, but then Kyle lost because he did the illegal Terra. So that's something he's going to be looking very close at. We'll see how that goes. But the winner of these two, each person who wins a game secures a spot in the North. They'll be promoted. And the 2 teams that are relegated, which I believe are Michael and... Take a look, I've forgotten. Mike and Zane will be going down to the South. So looking forward to seeing who that's going to be. Very excited. Also, I have been notified that this game between Michael and Kyle is taking place on Tuesday. So that's going to be a little bit delayed, but they've been given an extension because what else am I going to do? I just say, no, you have to take a draw in a playoff game. A little annoying, but what are you going to do? Okay, that wraps up the South. Let's talk about the North. So you saw a little bit of it here a second ago. Here's what happened. We got Drew, who took on Curtis in a game that I'm pretty interested to talk about, and then Zach taking on Logan. 2 perennial playoff teams going at it with big stakes. Let's talk about this first game here. So, Curtis has brought potentially one of the weirdest Smeargle sets I've ever seen versus kind of standard fare for Drew here. We've seen this team from him a lot. So let's get into it. We've got Smeargle leading off against Tentacruel. We see a Victory Dance come up right away. I don't know that I've seen Victory Dance Smeargle, but look, it makes sense. Like, you can pass stats with Smeargle. It absolutely works. We see a Reflect go up. Just trying to bolster the defense. Interesting to see how it goes. So we see it gets another Victory Dance. Knockoff's not going to do a lot of damage. Gouging Fire is going to come out on the Baton Pass, and now we have Urshifu Rapid Strike come up. Urshifu Rapid Strike can go for Surging Strikes, and it's going to ignore this Gouging Fire's attacks. We don't know what the item is on Urshifu Rapid Strike, but I can tell based on how it's played that it's definitely choiced in some way. Surging Strikes is going to start to come out, and it's actually critting through the Reflect, and it also ignores the Burning Bulwark because of the ability Unseen Fist that Urshifu has. And now he's just going to be trying to crit this Alamalola. Dodges a Play Rough, so that would have done so little damage it's irrelevant. I don't care that happened. Really, the only potential thing that could have come from it is maybe if he hits, he got an attack drop, because not stab, weak, uninvested Pokemon versus +2 defense. On a Pokemon that has pretty good defenses, that would have done like 10% if it hit and didn't crit. And also, you'll see why in a little bit, but it's a weird decision for him to have gone to Alamalola here. I don't think it was the right call. So now he's going to take another Surging Strikes. He's just taking, 30+% every time one of these Surging Strikes comes up. Goes for player review. Yeah, we see 18%. That was more than I thought it'd be. But not a good use of Alamolola's time to do that, because even with the leftovers, that next Surging Strike is putting him in range of fainting. Now we see the Wish go up. One of the things that makes Alamalola so special as a Wish Pokemon is the fact that it doesn't have to stay in to catch it. If it switches to pass a Wish to another Pokemon, it still gets a little consolation 33% because of Regenerator. It doesn't need to stay in and catch the Wish, right? Especially where it's at, because we see the leftovers have already come back. It's at 24%. We know that he doesn't have to worry about crits coming out here, but seems like the low roll on these Surging Strikes is doing 10%. That means he can expect to lose 30% from another Surging Strikes that comes out. Granted, he only has 3 left. So, I think the optimal play would be to go hard into Primarina, who is going to resist the Surging Strikes and be able to take that, and then catch a Wish, and it's going to recover a lot of HP. Probably end up being back at full. But instead, he goes for Protect here, and as we saw with the Burning Bulwark, Surging Strikes goes through Protect. This has not been like a masterclass of play by Curtis. He's clicked Surging Strikes 6 times. He clicked Victory Dance, Baton Pass, and then Surging Strike 6 times, and he's taken down 2 Pokemon, one of which is designed to take on an Urshifu. This is a very bad start for Darren. Now we see the Primarina come out. This is what should have happened before the Alamalola even came out, because we see these Surging Strikes come out, and it's not doing enough damage, just cracking the 50% mark. And then he's just going to Draining Kiss, get back a lot of health. If he had done this first, and yeah, we don't even see leftovers. He's potentially like, I don't know, Big Root or something. I don't know. But like, this is the Pokemon that you should have designed to take on Urshifu Rapid Strike. This should have happened so long ago. It's frustrating to see. So the Primarina is finally going to take that down, be it, not terrible health. Toedscruel's going to come out, and another mistake here. Now granted, I don't know what this Toedscruel set is. Maybe it's a slow Toedscruel, but Earthquake comes out, does 40%. That's a lot. So this is probably an offensive Toedscruel for a resisted hit from, granted, an Excadrill to be doing 40%. So Mycelium Might, what that does is any status move that Toedscruel goes for will go last in the priority bracket. So it's going to go second no matter what, unless his opponent goes for a negative priority move. Oh shit, I forgot to fix this. Sorry guys, let me. Okay, there, that's embarrassing. So you see on turn 13 here, Extra gets to go for Iron Head first. That means this Toad Scroll went for a status move. If it had just gone for Earth Power, or if it has it, or Knockoff, then this Excadrill is taking damage. Something positive is happening, but instead he's just losing this Toad Scroll to an Iron Head. Drew's in a really rough spot here. But you know, we've seen Drew in rough spots before, and he can play himself back in. So we've seen Earthquake come out, really good damage to that Scizor, just U-turns out into the Primarina. So this Rock Slide is obviously like, so this Rock Slide was trying to catch the Kilowattrel. I don't think that is a play that you necessarily need to make. If he had made it, awesome, because if he does go into Kilowattrel and he hits a Rock Slide, it's a dead Kilowattrel. Kilowattrel, as we'll see, is a big threat to the remainder of this team. But it doesn't happen. I think if somebody U-turns into something, usually they're probably just like, he could have easily U-turned into Kilowattrel. If he was going to bring in Kilowattrel, he would have done it at the end of turn 14, right? Unless this is a misclick, in which case it's like, okay, I'm just going to try to get into Kilowattrel. If he goes for Earthquake here, this Primarina is dead, and he's up 5-2, and he's in a real strong position, right? And also, Kilowattrel doesn't really threaten the Excadrill too badly, so keep that in mind. But he misses the Rock Slide, and he's going to faint at this Surf. Kind of a big deal. Smeargle's going to come out and go for the Spore, put the Primarina to sleep, and try to get a turn to set up here. And he sets up a Quiver Dance. Not something you'd really expect to see. And we'll talk about why in a minute here, but the Quiver Dance is coming up, and I don't really know why Quiver Dance. Looking at the, like, you would assume if he's setting up a Quiver Dance, that means the Pokemon he's going to be passing to is a special attacker. Landorus Eye could be a special attacker, and Hoop Unbound could be a special attacker, right? So now we're going to see the Ice Terra come out, and he's going to go for that. So that second Quiver Dance allowed this to live. Now, unfortunately, I think I'm right about that. This is probably supposed to be a special Landorus, because that's going to mean he can't pass the Quiver Dance to the Landorus, because now the Kilowattrel is threatening it too much. So he does Baton Pass into the Hoopa Unbound, which takes that really well. Hoop's got very good special defense, and on top of that, it's got a +2 special defense from the Quiver Dance. But this is not a special Primarina, or sorry, not a special Hoopa. He's just going to go for Drain Punch, because he's probably choice locked yet again. I'm a little confused as to why you're doing so much like speed and attack passing into choiced Pokemon. You'd be so much better off having, like, you know, any other item. And at this point, so here we are in turn 25. Kilowattrel's faster than everything remaining. And it's Ice type, and it might be Specs even. I think it is Specs. I think we see, or we can suspect it's Specs, based heavily on the evidence that we see coming up. Terra Blast should probably just sweep here. We're on turn 25. He's going to click Terra Blast against this, Terra Blast on whatever comes in, one more Terra Blast. Turn 27, this battle's over, right? We don't see that happen. We see these yawn shenanigans. I don't really get why Drew decided to do that, because he actually puts himself in kind of a rough spot with all these like U-turn and rocks are up and yawning. He's really trying to get Kilowattrel in on a turn where the Hippopotas, or he's not yawn, because he can't afford to let Hippopotas yawn the Kilowattrel and put it to sleep. But also now this Scizor, this Scizor, if it came back in again, would have fainted. But he finally gets the Kilowattrel in on the right turn. And if he had yawned, by the way, if the Kilowattrel, sorry, hold on. Let me get my thoughts together. So he comes in on the slack off on that turn, right? Which was kind of a calculated risk. But if the Hippopotas had yawned again on that turn, then I think Curtis wins the battle, because maybe not. Let me think. Sin faints, comes back in. No, I guess the same thing happens, but it just ended up being a little risky. So yeah, but we see the Terra Blast KO'd it from 100%. He could have done that on turn 25 like we were talking about. Smeargle's going to come in, boom, goes into the Terra Blast. Same thing with the Landorus. Down. So Um, a choke from Curtis, but bad mishandling of the end of the game here by Darren, but still fought back from a tough spot to be in a position where he could mishandle the end of the game. So kudos to him. Obviously, was a little bit tilted after the beginning of that game, able to really pull it back. And yeah, but gets the win. That's what it is at the end of the day. It's the important thing. I realize I've been a little bit critical of somebody who just won, but it was just a bizarre game to watch because I think that if Curtis had made 1 or 2 item changes on his team, or one less aggressive play with that rock slide against the Primarina, then he could have closed this out. And Darren also made some mistakes, but does come away with the win. Darren coming off a victory in the South last season and now finds himself 1 game away from a championship game in the North. So very excited for him there. But let's get, hold on. I'm gonna vamp for a minute because not that like I forgot to open anything. It's just like I like to be here and talk to you guys and not waste any sort of time. But you know what? It probably wasted too much time. Now let's get to our marquee match of the week.
Marquee match of the week. Now we have a theme.
Yeah, so our marquee match of the week is actually Zach taking on Logan. Logan's bringing his usual really weird team. We got that Regice there and no hazard control, so we'll see how that goes for him. Zach's team looks so Zach. I don't know how else to describe it. It just looks like it's an OU team plus an Ambipom. I guess Raiku's probably not OU, but still. But I'm going to keep this on normal speed, and we're going to hop into our marquee match. So we've got Raikou lead versus Regice. We're going to see the Regice switch hard into Mudsdale as he blocks the Volt switch. Now we see that the... I'm going to pause it there. We're going to see the Raikou hard switches against this Mudsdale. He's definitely not scared of Scarf Mudsdale. But since he's clicked Volt Switch and he hard switched, that's a pretty good indication that this is choiced Raikou in some way. So that's good information that we've already gleaned on turn 1. Landers is going to come out here and intimidate this Mudsdale as the Stealth Rocks go up. Landers is going to take that opportunity to get up his own Stealth Rocks as the Mudsdale roars out the Landorus. This Mudsdale, we'll share some information at the end of the battle about this very strange Mudsdale. It's going to get that defense boost from the stamina here, and good prediction going for the heavy slam here, doing good damage to this Clefable. And we're going to see him just go ahead and try to Cosmic Power around that. But this Mudsdale is going to roar him out, and we're going to see more chip damage. That's going to become what this Mudsdale is doing, because I guess I'll reveal it now. Logan texted me during this battle. I think there's turns that come up, you'll see, that it would have been beneficial for this Mudsdale to, like, click a ground move, you'd think, right? Like when this Heatran's in, even though he's -2 attack, it's still 4x weak to this move. Like you'd probably just assume he's gonna go for an Earthquake, but he doesn't for a number of reasons. One of which being this Mudsdale accidentally had Earth Power. It's a mistake I've made a couple of times. You type Earth into the move thing and then you click Enter and you don't look at what it says, and Earth Power comes up before Earthquake. But now this is an interesting opportunity. Look at this. This is a -4, -5, I don't know, -4 Mudsdale. Goes for Earth Power. He does more damage to Raikou than he would have with an Earthquake, right? But yeah, and also he gets burned, so Earth Power would have been such a good call here. Doesn't go for it, I think probably rightfully so. He's just going to keep shuffling this. This Mudsdale is essentially useless at that point, but you just gotta keep shuffling. Petrarun's going to come in versus this Clefable, obviously force it out. And we're going to see this parting shot. Good play there by Logan to keep up the momentum. Salamence is going to come in, and we see the attack drop there. Good double switch by Logan, predicting the Landers to come in and manage to get the Regice in. Now, the Regice is going to take those rocks damages we've seen many times from Logan. Not heavy duty boots, but that's because this time this Regice is Choice Scarf. Excellent double, surprising set, gets the Landorus out of there. big offensive threat from Zach, and then also a good defensive Pokemon off the board. Regis has pretty much done its job at this point. Doesn't really need to do anything else. So if it's going to get shredded by rocks, so be it. The Heatran's going to come in. That's obviously going to force out this Scarf Regis. See the Flash Cannon come out, do big damage to Clefairy. Not the switch you wanted to see there. This Clefairy is actually going to Terra Fire, going to be able to take that next Flash Cannon and recover with Moonlight. The biggest drawback to Clefairy, I mean, NFE Pokemon in general, are the shit damage they do. And we're going to see it knock off the leftovers from this Clefable, but that's not going to be enough to stop this Clefable from starting to Cosmic Power up. But he does have Nightshade. Big thing there for him to have Nightshade, because that means he can do reliable damage regardless of these boosts. Now, the thing he's got to watch out for is when Clefable starts to Cosmic Power up, it's eventually going to be able to go for Stored Power, which is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger as he gets more boosts. So that is a bit of a problem. But we're going to see this Clefairy pulls out the Encore. So Encore works for 3 straight turns. I think, and that's something that I constantly forget. So this Cosmic Power was not Encore. The next Cosmic Power will be the first Encored Cosmic Power. So he's got to click Cosmic Power 3 more times before he can click another move. I think Zach might not have been aware of how the counter worked, and that is kind of why we're going to see these next couple turns of Cosmic Power as a Nightshade comes out, because this Clefable is going to be worn down. I think Zach was hoping he'd be able to come out of the Encore there, but it didn't happen. Heatran's going to come in on this Nightshade and take that damage, and Ambipom's going to come in expecting that Nightshade. Kind of weird call to go to Heatran. I guess maybe like potentially trying to bait out the either Salamence or Latios, thinking like Earth Power might be coming on this Clefairy. That's probably what you're trying to bluff there. But he had a pretty safe switch into Ambipom there. Like maybe you get the bluff, force, maybe you don't, but also it's no drawback. So really smart play by Zach there. I think it's a good high-level play from a high-level player. But gets an Ambipom pretty much for free. I guess you did like lose some health on Heatran, but I think the risk reward was probably worth it. And then the Mudsdale's gonna come out, just take this knockoff, and then it's gonna get U-turn KO'd here. Smart move by Zach. Just, you got to force that Clefairy out, and you got to get rid of that Mudsdale so that way it opens up your Raikou later in the game. Regis is going to come out, not really be able to do, it does. Here's the thing, we see it do some damage. See this Ice Beam come off. Obviously not max speed Scarf Regis, otherwise it would have outsped that Raikou. Then this critical hit on this Luster Purge. Pretty sure, so this is obviously Scarf Lottie, because otherwise it wouldn't have outsped a Raikou. Luster Purge might have KO'd the Lottie from that range. I don't know the calc. Zach, you can correct me. But I don't think that the Raikou could have Thunderbolted, would have done some damage to Lottie, but really what it would have been relying on was whether or not it got a crit, right? Or also maybe he wasn't choiced. There's potential that he wasn't choiced, and I've just been assuming he's choiced, based on like that opening damage versus the opening play versus the Mudsdale. Yeah, Zach, let me know what the deal was. Because he could have potentially... Did we see him take... Hold on. Oh, he was heavy duty boots. Because he didn't take rocks damage. So, probably busting out a Shadow Ball there. I don't think it would have KO'd a Latios. Maybe I'm wrong. But definitely would have pressured the Latios a lot considering rocks are up. But anyways, we'll get back into it. Ambipom's going to come out. Definitely not going to want to take this Fake Out. So Pecharunt is going to come in on the Fake Out to block it. I figured we'd see a Parting Shot here from the Pecharunt, but yeah, it just goes for the Malignant Chain, able to KO the Clefable. Heatran's going to come out and reveal, actually it didn't reveal it there, but is, that crit didn't matter. I'm very confident because we do find out that this is Scarf Heatran, so it's definitely going to be offense. It has that Dark Pulse. Clefairy's going to come out, and it's going to get its, see Choice Scarf knocked off there. Clefairy taking out a Heatran. Not something you see too often, so that's fun. But Logan's in a really good spot now. The Ambipom is weakened. The Dragapult is susceptible to the Pokemon remaining. Ambipom's going to come out, and it's just going to clean up this Clefairy here pretty easily. It's done its job. We're going to see the Dragapult come out here. Also, Heavy Duty Boots. This comes down to... I don't know if we calced it, but I think we were talking in the chat that we were sure that Luster Purge would KO the Dragapult from here. Maybe it wouldn't, but we do see the Draco Meteor go off. Does KO the Dragapult. Now all Logan has to do, go sack Salamence, and then come back in. Gotta avoid the fake out, right? You sack Salamence to the fake out and whatever other move that the Ambipom wants to do. Bring Latios back in, click the 100% accurate Luster Purge, and get out of there. But I think in a big risk, he stayed in and ate that fake out and goes for another Draco Meteor. He went from he had a 100% chance to win, and he ended up going to he went with a 90% chance to win instead. But does come away with a victory. Logan with an upset to Zach. Let's take a look at the bracket here. So since he's the lowest seed remaining, he's actually going to come face me, the 1 seed, and that'll send Drew over to face Brett. So everyone here so we got 3 former champions and somebody who, I guess it's fine framed up like this. I'll fix that later. But we got 3 former champions, and we have somebody who won the South last year. So it's kind of a weird distinction. It's kind of like how in the WWE they're just like, they don't really recognize it's like, 3 former champions and then a former United States champion. Like, you won a title. It's just not the big one. No offense, just that's the way it is. But dangerous North playoffs here. Really looking forward to next week's battles. Last time I faced Logan was, I feel like, forever ago, right? Or maybe I faced him like week 6 or something. I thought I faced him right before my bye week. Maybe a little bit before my bye week. Back in week 3. Both of our teams have undergone a lot of change. Brett faced Drew all the way back in, I think, week 2 or some shit, where he lost, but that was also his last loss before he went on a big win streak that extends to this day. Some say he's still winning. But that's that. I guess we don't really have to go over to the draft board and talk about shit over there. I mean, we can look at it, but we just had Terra changes. Obviously, nobody can make actual roster changes at this point in the season. That'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for listening. And sorry it's only 1 episode this week. I think I stretched it out a little longer than I should have, to be honest. But thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.